Hello, my food mood friends. Welcome back. Chandra's asked an Odyssey. I'm in my bedroom because I have a little bit more of an intimate topic, and I thought the lighting's great. I have this epic park view on the other side of this camera, and yeah, I thought I would change it up and offer a topic to get your brain chewing on around intimacy and around connection, but at the heart of it, allowing emotions.
Welcome! Here is your hostess and coach, Chandra, helping people make food and mood changes doable without missing out. Go ahead, high five that like button, subscribe and share while you're there.
The positive emotions, the connective, the kind, the emotions that we all want to feel, and yet sometimes we actually have a hard time feeling them. I was out running errands today and went to our favorite coffee shop to get the coffee beans, and I watched these two women in front of me, and they're obviously friends, and the one woman she just said, I want to buy you your drink, pay for your drink. And the friend responded like, oh, like, no, I think she's something like, no, like I was gonna pay or something like this kind of like, but there was like this negative clenching reaction, which obviously she was, her friend was buying her drink. It was a sweet gesture. And the friend who bought the drink, she, instead of turning to her and connecting, she turned away at this moment where this friend was kind of like, ah. And I just sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, wow, like here are these two friends spending time together, going for a coffee together. They obviously care about each other. And there was this moment, this opportunity for them to connect, to have this moment of like, wow, thank you for the treat. And oh, it's all my pleasure. Thanks for, spending time with me. Instead of having this connective moment, one woman cringed and the other one looked away. And I was like, oh, wow, that's so interesting that like it's hard to allow that sweet, to receive the gift, to feel grateful, to have this moment of connection. And then a couple hours later, I was talking to one of my really good friends who's also a coach, and we just have these epic conversations. And she brought up something really similar in a dynamic, I think in her own relationship, about how uncomfortable it is for her to actually, she was sharing that she has all these great things happening, and she was reflecting and sharing with me how it's hard to actually, it's uncomfortable, and she's noticing her own resistance to all these good things happening to her. And so then I shared the story, and we kind of talked about, we actually progressed in the conversation, and at one point we were like kind of riffing on like, what are the coaching basics? Like, what are the foundational pieces that are transformational to our clients or to anybody who's getting coaching? What are they? And hello, my friend. How are you? I'm in the Dead Sea, floating in the water. Go ahead and like and share and follow so we can keep in touch. One of the three foundational components that we both 100% agreed on was allowing feelings. And a lot of the work that I do with my clients and a lot of work she does with her clients are around allowing the hard and negative emotions, the sadness, the grief, the discomfort, the upset, the frustration, the ones that are not comfortable that we all. So if I give you a little bit of coaching background, like our brains are wired to avoid discomfort. So it's very natural that we all avoid discomforts, especially the uncomfortable emotions. So it's like one of the big pieces is that like I'm constantly helping my clients is like, if we can give you a new relationship with your emotions, that you're allowing them and feeling them, then you don't have to overeat, you don't have to overdrink, you don't have to over scroll. So you get this like kind of new internal kit for, okay, what are these other options that I have for these feelings so that I can then do the habits that I know serve me and make me feel good, better long term. And on the flip side, like what happens like if we also struggle with accepting, our friends buying us coffee, or accept these great things that are coming into our life? If we're not even allowing, and I think that this is the kind of human normal theme. It takes a certain amount of practice and self-awareness and intentional, like doing things different than our default is to actually allow the hard feelings, but also allow the good feelings. Allow when someone buys us a cup of coffee, even I watch a lot of people, and it's something I work on myself, when people say thank you, and it's so common and easy and default to deflect it. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's no problem. Instead of standing there with our hearts open and saying, you're welcome. and enjoying that energetic connection, that energetic positive feeling. I think one of the self-defenses that we do when something good happens is we're scared of being vulnerable, because if we open and we allow that good feeling, then what's going to happen next? Like, are we going to get hurt if we like somebody too much? If we connect, if we open ourselves, if we're vulnerable, are we going to get hurt? And so there's that, natural, normal, ingrained part of us that wants to protect ourselves from getting hurt, that protects ourselves from being vulnerable. And one of the my friend and I, we then continued to riff on what are the benefits, if so there's, someone's got a motivation, they've got a, I want to lose weight, so I want to change my food habit, so okay, I'm going to feel these hard feelings. Or someone's got a drinking problem, so they're like, I gotta, this is harming my life, I gotta find a different tool set. There's those motivations. Those are really real and really useful, and they definitely make big changes fast when someone's decided on board they want to change it. But where I'm at in my life, and maybe where you're at, depending on where you're at, but then there's this other reason of well, if and this is truly where I come from and why I just have trained my brain to really prioritize feeling feelings. And so I want to offer this as another motivation of why it's so important, is when we lean in and feel, most of us are living in this kind of small emotional spectrum where we're kind of tense and resistant, we're in anxiety, maybe we're in depression, these kind of smaller self emotional states. And if we lean in and we feel the sadness, or we feel the grief, or we feel the anger, what happens is it actually opens our emotional spectrum. It opens, yes, we feel more sadness and more grief, but we're not hanging out in the depressed anxiety. And we're opening to more joy, more connection, more love. And so for me, that's one of the biggest motivators, is I know I don't want to live in this anxious, depressed state. I don't want to be in this small, protective, fearful, emotional mode. I want to embrace the feelings, the thank yous, the you're welcomes, when my friends buy me coffee, when they offer me sweet things. I want to step into that. Oh, thank you. And it's okay. If ultimately we're scared of getting hurt, right? So we're scared of those feelings. But if if it's okay that we get hurt, if it's part of the human experience, if it's important that we feel the grief so that we can then feel the freshness and the connection and eventually the joy when we get through that maybe period of grief, because grief can last a little while and takes waves of working through. So I want to ask you, where are you at in your emotional journey? How is it connected to food? What are your default modes when it comes to your relationship to your emotions? Are you aware of them? Are you watching them? Are you working on them? Do you have reasons to lean in and feel? And when we really, and I'm definitely getting on a soapbox here because as my friend and I were talking about, it's just one of the core basics that is so life transformational, is when we step into these intentional relationships with, I'm talking in this video about our emotions, when we lean in and feel, when we give ourselves tools, or our kids tools. I have to share another story. My daughter is, because I've been working with giving her tools on her emotions, because that's what I do, and that's what I have just found so important and life-changing, and I want her to have skills to work through hard moments. I don't want to protect her from hard things. I want to give her tools to work through hard things, especially emotions, because that's ultimately what is hard for us humans. She was talking about how a lot of the kids choose her to take them to the nurse when they get hurt, when they scrape a knee or whatever, or when they're sick. And she was like, yeah, a lot of the kids, they choose me. And I was like, well, that's really cool. And she's like, but I'm the only one that kids choose to be around when they're angry, and that they let me help them. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, what do you do when kids are angry? And she's like, I walk up to them and I tell them, take a deep breath and hold it and then exhale. And I think that there was a couple more pieces of the story, but I was just so touched that she is emotionally resilient and has the tools and the resources to not only help herself, and actually sometimes she reminds me that I need to take a breath, And sometimes she reminds me that she just needs to feel her emotions and just give her a minute. It's a really, really special thing to see. I have definitely been training her brain and definitely been giving her the best tools that I have. And so it's so cool to see her actually stepping into those and using those and then being effective in class and with her friends and with her classmates. And they're simple tools. They really, I mean, I'm teaching my kid who she just turned 6. So she's a kindergartner. She's young. She's a kid. And there's such simple tools that we adults often don't have. Most of us don't have. The power of breathing. It's just, and allowing ourselves to feel feelings. It's what I actually do in the beginning of my program, because without that tool, it's really hard to make shifts. If we're being ruled by our brain's default of avoiding those uncomfortable emotions, we're stuck in a really small space, in a small emotional mode, in a protective, fearful, avoidant mode. So yeah, so if I could offer you a takeaway is next time someone does something sweet for you, to, even if it feels uncomfortable, to take a deep breath and allow that discomfort to be in your body and say thank you and soak it in and allow that sweet moment of that opportunity of connection. Yeah, because that's what life's all about, right? Are those connections and are those sweet friend moments and those moments that we get to connect with ourselves and with our friends. So I want to encourage you to soak it up next time if that's one of your defaults. And if you're already on the path of allowing that good feeling to be in your body or that bad feeling to be in your body, well done. Tell a friend. It's life-changing. It's helping all of us increase our human potential. And yeah. All right. That is this week's topic. And I hope you have a good day. And yeah.